That's for the verse. The board will certify that the closed session that was conducted in accordance with Code Virginia as amended by section 2.23712. Could I get a motion to certify that closed session was conducted in accordance with Code?
I'll make that motion.
Second. And I think I was a little quick. I don't see Ms. Porter.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Cox? Yes. Mr. Price?
Yes. All right, next is the recognition of the CTE Employee of the Month. Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Hey, Josh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you all would like to come on down to the front, please. By the way, welcome everybody. We're glad you're here. We'll start with our Employee of the Month, Pulaski County Public Schools, Pulaski County High School, and the Career and Technical Education Center are pleased to introduce Sarah Blevins as the CTE Employee of the Month. Sarah is the daughter of longtime Pulaski County Public School employees Joyce and Freddie Bill Blevins. Ms. Blevins, the preschool teacher, paraeducator at Pulaski County High School, has been committed to working with preschool children for 14 years. Her structured approach and dedication to preparing children for kindergarten demonstrates her passion for their success. It is evident that she cares for the children as they were her own. Congratulations.
Mr. Superintendent. Here we go.
Pulaski County Public Schools, Pulaski County High School, and the Career and Technical Education Center are pleased to introduce Becky Roseberry as the CTE Teacher of the Month. Specializing in early childhood education and preschool director, Ms. Roseberry consistently demonstrates a can-do attitude and goes above and beyond to support her students. She serves as an exemplary role model for both high school and preschool students, showcasing kindness, compassion, and creativity. Ms. Roseberry's dedication to her students is evident in the time and effort she invests in ensuring their success. And kind of off the cuff too, if you haven't been in their room, it's just absolutely amazing. And what they do for these children and the energy the children have is just absolutely fantastic. So we appreciate everything that you all do. Pulaski County Public Schools and Pulaski County High School are pleased to announce Tyler Maurice Arnold as Senior of the Month for February. Tyler's son, Charles and Melissa Arnold of Pulaski. Tyler's nominating teacher stated that he always has a smile and good attitude, and he contributes to discussions. He is always very engaged and has a great personality. He works very hard and does what is asked of him. Tyler is an active member of our Culinary Arts program and will be attending the Culinary Institute of America in upstate New York after graduation. Currently, he's employed at Mochi's Cafe, where he does food preparation. A self-proclaimed lover of school, Tyler enjoys reading and volunteering whenever he can at PCHS activities. He's a member and founder of the Chess Club and has recently joined our newly formed gaming club. In his free time, guess what? He enjoys to cook. Whenever we have an event with food, he's always there. And we're there too. Just different reasons.
Did he do all the snow cones?
Pulaski County Public Schools and Pulaski County School Board are honored to congratulate the following students from the Southwest Virginia Governor's School on their accomplishments at the 2024 Science Fair. Lauren Irvine, Research Award for Feelings Towards Police. Ethan Easter, second place in Animal Science, determining the effects of. I'm surprised this kid didn't win a national award because I can't even pronounce what he did. Second place in Animal Science, determining the effects of 4 natural items on oranges to repel Dasophilia melanoxcorester. Congratulations. Come on. Lady Barnett, first place in chemistry and alternate grand award in physical science, a nutritional assessment of plant-based milk alternatives, comparing common plant-based milk alternatives to cow's milk using chemical analyses. James Payne, third place in earth and environmental sciences, quantifying microplastics in core molecular lumina from lava ecosystems. Wow, that's a lot. Swati Agarwal, honorable mention in environmental chemistry, evaluating homemade and industrial rust removers on steel metal. J.C. Hendricks, second place in environmental chemistry, testing the effects of sunscreen ultraviolet filter oxybenzone on freshwater plants. Can you pronounce that plant that you were doing that on?
It's Liliopsis brasiliensis.
Okay,
Exactly how it's spelled.
Andrew Clark, third place in environmental engineering. Solar wattage as affected by altitude and latitude in Pulaski County.
Hey, let's get everybody this. Yeah. Josh.
Before you guys go, I just want to say how much we appreciate you representing Pulaski County.
Yes.
Pulaski County Middle School Lady Cougar basketball team recently completed a perfect 17-0 season. The Pulaski County Middle School team outscored their opponents this season 695 to 305. Since the middle school opened in 2019, the girls team has been undefeated 3 out of the 4 seasons, giving up only 5 games since they joined the county middle school. The members of the Pulaski County Middle School team, Lady Cougar basketball team, are Raven Hughes, Kayla Green, Lewis, Hayden Carter, Olivia Duncan, Justin Radcliffe Kelty, Jasmine Dalton, Justin Dillon, Lily Doe, Victoria Gonzalez, Kohler. The head coach is Missy Gilbert, assisted by Hannah Jones and Sarah Rodden.
Yeah, that's good. Basketball. Everybody. Okay. It's pretty close. Everybody see me? One, two, three. Yeah. Okay.
Congratulations to Tori Alley and Carly Hoven Ballard for their hard work and dedication to the students at Pulaski County High School. Pulaski County High School has just scheduled for the Virginia Future Farmers of America Goodwill Tour to celebrate National Future Farmers of America Week. In addition to Virginia Future Farmers of America state officers that will visit the schools, this is a big award, you all. Pulaski County High School has also been selected as one of 2 schools in the state to receive a visit from one of our national Future Farmers of America officers. That is quite an accomplishment.
That's good.
Each February, the Virginia School Board Association Board of Directors designates the third week as Virginia School Board Association School Board Clerk Appreciation Week, with the goal of building awareness of the role board clerks play in assisting school board members, superintendents, and local schools. The school board clerks are the heartbeat of the boardroom. We are very thankful for the hard work and dedication to these wonderful board clerks, Teresa Porter and Brenda Crawford.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And just to let you all know, we don't the hours that these two spend in creating just wonderful agendas for our board meetings and the work that they do outside of the school board meetings too is just greatly appreciated.
And y'all should know neither one of us like pizza.
Okay, right here. And
The month of February is also observed as School Board Association Appreciation Month, a time to salute the work of school board members and celebrate public education. This year's theme is the heart of education, our school board, reflecting the leadership of the local school board members as they serve their local divisions and advocate for public education with local, state, and federal leaders on the behalf of our students. Local school boards keep the public in charge of public schools since they represent their community beliefs and values. Too often we neglect to recognize the dedication and hard work of school board members who represent us. We want each of you to know how much we appreciate what you do for the faculty, staff, students, and school community members of Pulaski County Public Schools. Josh Taylor, Chair of the Massey District, Gina Payne, Vice Chair of the Eagles District, Sabrina Cox, Robinson District, Jacob Price, Cloyd District, Billy Williams, Draper District. A very special thank you to each of you from our schools and the community. Oh, you guys are
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I have one other recognition that came in today.
Yes.
You'll find me reading that too. This is coming Thursday is School Resource Officer Appreciation Day, and we certainly appreciate everything that our school resource officers do for us. We currently have 9 in our school division, and I just want to read a resolution signed by Governor Glenn Youngkin to show how much we appreciate all the work those school resource officers do for us every single day. So School Resource Officer Appreciation Day, whereas the Commonwealth of Virginia is dedicated to making schools safe for all students, faculty, staff, and the communities they serve, and whereas school resource officers are critical members of the educational community who dedicate their lives to keeping students and schools secure, and whereas there are over 1,000 exceptionally trained, dedicated men and women in law enforcement who serve as school resource officers in our elementary, middle, and high schools, providing support and encouragement, and serving as role models, law enforcement officers, and educators. And whereas school resource officers serve across the Commonwealth as partners with school staff to ensure students have a safe place to learn, and whereas the Commonwealth of Virginia has one of the longest running, most robust school resource officer programs in the nation, and now therefore I, Glenn Youngkin, do hereby recognize February 15, 2024 as School Resource Officer Appreciation Day in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of our citizens. Thank you, School Resource Officer. And that concludes our recognitions. Thank you so much.
You're going to need a break, Rob. So next up is our recognition of citizens. The first public comment section will be for persons who wish to address the board regarding items that are on tonight's current school board agenda. Items presented by citizens may be referred to the superintendent for research. You may contact the school board at subsequent meetings or throughout other communication. If you wish to comment about individual employees or their performance, please present your comments first to the superintendent. Such matters will not be discussed at this meeting. Please limit all comments to 3 minutes, and public comment will be limited to 30 minutes. There will be a second public comment section in the meeting. No takers? Okay, so moving on to the approval of minutes. The minutes were for the January 18th regular meeting were available for review. I'm looking for a motion to approve the January 18th, 2024 school board regular meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the January 18, 2024 school minutes.
Second?
I will second that.
Ms. Moore?
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Next up is the adoption of tonight's agenda. Each board member was afforded a copy of the agenda for the meeting. What I'm looking for is a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Ms. Moore?
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Next up is the consent agenda. The board was also privy to the payment of bills, the HR consent agenda, and I believe that's in the approval of the consent agenda. What I'm looking for is an approval for the consent agenda or any discussion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
I'll second.
Yes. Ms. Moore?
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
And welcome to the new employees of Pulaski Schools. Thank you, Richard. Next up is our instructional focus, and this month we have special education and CTE.
Dr. Polcha, thank you for being here with us this evening.
This was like
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ms. Green, thank you for allowing me to come to present and brag a little bit on my department today. So I'm going to start, I'm going to try and go through, Dr. Grant told me I had 2.5 minutes, it's going to take a little longer than that, so I'm going to apologize. When I started putting information together, I realized there's a really lot. So I hope you guys know what we do. We generally try to be very quiet and fly over the radar, so we are one time to get full spiel. So we're going to start with what our philosophy is for special education. Our current philosophy is that services can and should be provided in the least restrictive environment possible. The least restrictive environment placement decisions should always be made with the general curriculum as a starting point. Changes in setting and placement should only occur when services cannot be accomplished in the general education setting after considering all supports and accommodations. Efforts should be well documented and interventions should be research-based. Scheduling is done based upon the needs identified in the IEP and not on vice versa. And instruction is best delivered in the general education setting. I'm going to pause for a second. General education setting is what you traditionally think of as school. It's with your regular teacher who is endorsed in science, chemistry, grade 1, whatever, and then we move further out the continuum. So if you're looking at a continuum of services, which I'll reference later on, we would start with our students in the general education setting as our first preferred placement, and then move down the continuum from there. The next slide is the structure of the department. We have 2 coordinators, one for elementary, one for secondary, 2 specialists, group A specialists, a middle school specialist, 43 special education teachers, 5 speech language pathologists, 2 occupational therapists, 2 school psychologists, 60 paraprofessionals at this point. It's important that I say at this point because those numbers fluctuate. And then support staff, we have 1 administrative assistant, 1 SLP assistant, and 1 Medicaid billing specialist. I oversee all of that and all of the programs that go with special education, as well as out-of-district placements, residential placements. Our coordinators are responsible for eligibility meetings, MDRs, and IEP meetings. Our specialists can oversee component selection, support IEP meetings, and chair eligibility meetings. Just for your reference, as of today, we have held 150 eligibility meetings for the school year, and we're on target for 237 within the 65-day window. I'm saying within the 65-day window because we go all the way into summer. Our school year extends to June 30th, and our numbers for meetings will go up dramatically from 237. Those are just eligibility meetings. That doesn't include component selection, IEP meetings, manifestation, determination, review meetings, or even commitment that needs to be done. Historically, we have focused on compliance and the process to meet the requirements of our corrective action plan. The corrective action plan resulted in a state audit that was performed in fall of 2017. We were charged with bringing the division back into compliance with federal and state guidelines, codes, and regulations. In addition, shortly after the audit, we were identified as having disproportionate discipline rates, which also resulted in a corrective action plan for disciplinary practices. The state loves corrective action plans. Our students with disabilities were found to have been given more out-of-school suspensions at a significantly larger rate than the non-disabled peers at this time. I will show a slide later that will reference those rates for you. The result of both paths was that the focus of the special education department was on compliance, meeting all legal requirements of the DOE, of the state, of the U.S. Department of Ed at federal level, and then access to the curriculum. We received a letter from BDOE recognizing our efforts and the changes made from the corrective action plan, which is what I handed you as you were coming up so that you could see all of the things that were accomplished during that audit time period. Special education has a special education advisory committee. We call it the SEAC. So if you ever hear me talking about the SEAC, that is not a water mammal or any kind of large bison. It is a committee. It acts essentially as my advisory for policy. They look over the annual plan. They provide feedback. They're brought into the loop on when we have a corrective action plan. They act kind of like a PTA sometimes, but they are regulated and required by the state of Virginia. We are currently small but mighty. Our current members are Regina Zerkman, Rachel Miller, and Ricky Odell, and we're actively recruiting more members. So parents and community members who would like to consider joining the SEAC are absolutely welcome. So the next part is how we're evaluated by the state and by the feds. These are all of the indicators that are looked at and are data gathered on for special education. Typically, these pieces of data come through the CRDC reports. So that's your civil rights reports that go up to the U.S. Department of Ed, or any report that's submitted through PowerSchool. Indicator 8 is parent involvement. That's done through a parent survey that's distributed every year. And then the timeline for eligibility comes from us. We self-report timeline for eligibility, post-secondary goals, transition services, and indicator 14 for secondary outcomes are also self-reported. Those take quite a bit of time. For indicator 14, as an example, we have to call every student with disability that graduated the previous year and ask them a series of questions about where they are, how they're doing, and what happened after high school. And then we're measured on that. Our last local determination referencing those indicators, we met requirements. This is from 2021. It's important to remember our data is 2 years old. So the reporting year is always going to be 2 years behind what we actually are, because that's how long it takes the DOE and the feds to get data together to compile it to come up with the rate. For the record, during COVID, it's not so good. These are the risk ratios as provided by the Virginia Department of Ed. The Virginia Department of Ed considers a risk ratio for exclusionary discipline or suspensions to be 2 or less. So students with disabilities being 2 times more likely to be suspended is considered acceptable by the VDOE. Our rates would get as high as 9.21 and 19 and 20. So our students at one point in time were 9 times more likely than 19 to be suspended for expelled. Okay, that's where the corrective action plan came from. This is an important piece of history because this also provides some understanding and a look at where we were with disciplinary practices and what was pushing some of those things in the past. Funding, money. Special education money comes from 3 streams: the local stream, the state stream, and the federal stream. The federal stream is based on the annual plan that's in your packet. What you've got is last year's annual plan. I'll be presenting next year's annual plan in the coming months. But that gives you an idea of what that application looks like and what you have to look forward to. That's really exciting reading. The funding is based on our December 1 child count, and that's the number of students that we have that are identified with disabilities as of December 1st of every year. That again is reported up through Power School. Josh will know that a lot. So typically what we start doing in mid-October is going through and hand compiling every student, looking at every student in Virginia IEP and every student in Power School. Currently we have over 600 students that have served, so we're touching 600 different records for 600 different students. Your service time is what drives your funding. So if you have greater than 50% service time, you're funded at a higher rate than if you have less than 50% service time. It's based on your caps for your caseloads. So if I have greater than 50% service time, I'm funded at 1 teacher, 1 full-time teacher for 10 students. Okay. If I am at less than 50%, I'm funded at 1 full-time teacher for 24 students. It's important to know that those service times are something we look at and calculate and those are back at Power School. Our state funding comes through the SOQs as well as through SISNA, which is the Student with Intensive Support Needs Grant. We have a copy of that as well. Some of our students cost over $100,000 a year to educate. When you look at every service that they're afforded through their IEP, we can seek reimbursement through the state for those, in addition to our Medicaid reimbursements. For the record, we also do Medicaid reimbursements. Those come into the general ledger and don't go back into special education. The last thing would be the local general account, and that's dictated by the local deposit index. It's important to know where your funding streams are from the standpoint that you guys are sitting in, because the maintenance of effort says that you cannot dip down unless there's a special exception with your funding for SPED. So when we start talking about funding for SPED has to be at or above the level of the previous year, unless you need a special exception. So we'll be talking about the maintenance of effort quite frequently. Inclusion. Inclusion is a philosophy. A lot of people think that inclusion is a place, that inclusion means a class where everybody has 2 teachers, maybe a pair of professionals, and students with disabilities as well as regular ed students. It's not inclusion. That's a place. That's a co-taught classroom. Inclusion means everybody has a place, everybody belongs, everybody has a voice, and everybody is welcome to the table. So when we're looking at our students with disabilities and we're talking about inclusion, we want to make sure they have access to every single program that their general education teams have access to. They can play sports, they can participate in clubs, they can access any of the after-school activities. Sometimes that's difficult. Sometimes we have to pay for a parent to stay after school for track for our students. So inclusion is about making sure they get to participate at the same rate, at the same time as their peers, and get to have the same experience as their peers as much as possible. When you're talking about placement, we would say possibly an inclusive setting. That would be a co-taught classroom. And research indicates that students with disabilities perform better when they're educated in an inclusive setting or a co-taught classroom. So your students who are in a resource classroom typically do not do as well as your students who are with a co-taught teacher, right? So think about that. That makes sense. My endorsement is in special education. My area of specialty is data and disability. Dr. Grant's endorsement is in the general education curriculum. Hers is content knowledge. So it makes sense that when you combine the two, you're going to get a better outcome for your students as opposed to having me in a English class and throwing English up there, as I can do now. But if you have me in a resource English class, we're not going to get as rich of access to the curriculum as we have to. That makes sense? We do offer a full continuum of services. We offer everything from home-based to we have students in residential, we have students in private day placements, we have students in the regular curriculum that are simply monitored. It's all dictated by what the IEP team determines and what the child needs. Okay. The Inclusion Action Plan, during the 22-23 school year, the Virginia Department of Education required that we create a Inclusion Action Plan. Each of those action plans is based on what the school's action plans are. I gave you the division one, but each school also has an inclusion action plan. This is where I'm going to brag for a second. So, we started this way before. We started this in 2018 to 2019 by pairing with Bradford University and doing their 3Cs grant. So all of the work that went into this, these other divisions were scrambling to do, we already had compiled in a Google Doc ready to run. So our folks are ahead of the game. That's something that I think is pretty cool. What does special education look like? Special education for an individual student is dictated by the individualized education program. Those documents can be anywhere from 20 to, I think the biggest one I've read was 40 pages long. Those documents are mainly boilerplate legal information. However, you're looking at students' present level of performance, so it's going to take into account their academic needs, their functional needs, their behavioral needs, any kind of assessment that they've been given, what their ability and their achievement may be, and any services, goals, or accommodations that are necessary. All of that is in that document. Each student receives periodic progress monitoring based on those goals in the IEP and utilizing the data that the teachers are gathering. Sorry, I'm running out of steam. Expectations. This is the part I really want to hit home with you guys, and I want to be loud and clear on. When students with disabilities are provided access to appropriate services and accommodations, those students are expected to achieve the same level as their non-disabled peers. So let me say that again. When they have the correct accommodations and the correct services, they should be able to access and perform just like their peers. That's what special education is for. It's like giving short me a ladder so I can stand next to him and see whatever's going on. Once you give me the ladder, I should be able to see, correct? That's special education. Students with disabilities are held to the exact same academic standards as the non-disabled peers unless they're intellectually disabled and the IEP team and the eligibility team make that determination and then place them on an alternate curriculum that would give them a different standardized measure. Students with disabilities are subject to the policies of Pulaski County Public Schools and the Student Code of Conduct. So again, IEPs do not exclude students from the Code of Conduct, nor do they exclude students from academic work. I think that's been confused a little bit, and I want to make sure that I'm getting that. An IEP is not an excuse for poor behavior or poor performance. By the numbers. This is our population going back to 2016. You can see in 2016 we were at 735. Our child count steadily decreased through 2022. Then all of a sudden, we went up. That's a 15.5% increase this year. So we went from 605 students that we serve to 698 students that we serve. We have schools that are busting at the seams for special ed, and their case managers are struggling. Just for the record, I noticed they're carrying 20 kids. The state max is 24. Best practice is nowhere near that. So our numbers, for whatever reason, are growing in our schools. When you look at the private day or the residential numbers, those don't break them out, but your private day is going to be Minute, Gateway, Rivermont, Roanoke, those type of schools, right? We pay for that. We pay for the Weeding County. We pay for their transportation, we pay their tuition, and we pay to make sure that they get what education they need in that setting. That's one of the places on the continuum services we talk about. The other setting is homebound setting. Those are medically driven. If it is homebound, it means that a medical doctor has written notes that child needs to be educated at home, that they cannot leave the home environment confined to home, and that they cannot be educated in the school setting. If they're placed at home, that's home based. That's an important distinction because homebound is reimbursed by the state. These are your numbers by school. Your total sped numbers include your students with disabilities who are served by speech and language pathologists. So when you see total SWD, that's students with disabilities, minus SLI, those are students who are speech only. The reason we do that is so I can look at how many I need for caseloads. So I take the number that is SWD minus SLI, and I divide that out to get my case count. Okay? I also put the percent identified for each school. 13 to 14% is the acceptable range. You can see that we have some schools that are exceeding that. Typically, that's an indication that we have some instructional concerns that need to be addressed. Kaiser's doing that for the record, just so you know. I know they're the highest, but I know Tony's probably also hungry to give me a look. So Kaiser is trying to address that. They're working very diligently to do that, and they did well last year. They're still seeing some of the impacts from previous years. If you look, your pass rates are here. The goal of the special education department in general is to meet or exceed the state average. So when you're looking at the state average,
Sorry.
go to pass rates. Okay, thank you. So if you're looking, the state average is on the far right, and then our percent is in the far left for the schools. We would like to be at the state average. We have some room to grow. We have a lot of room to grow. Our benchmark pass rates, our goal for the year was to increase our benchmark pass rates. In some cases we have. Two in particular I'm going to give kudos to. Kaiser's pass rate for math for the SOL test was at 32%, and their benchmark pass rate is 42.39. That's great. That's great. That benchmark pass rate indicates what we think will pass the SOL. It's also approaching the state average for the SOL pass rate. So that's great. If you're looking at PES, the same is true for their math pass rate. They were at 35% for their SOL pass rate. Their benchmark pass rate is 43.22. So they are showing growth. So what does the data say we need to do? This comes out of the Inclusion Action Plan. So when you look at that, I absolutely cheated. We need to focus in on our academic achievement. We need to train for specially designed instruction, which is what special educators are taught to do. So when we're talking specially designed instruction, that's what I do as a teacher over and above what they do in the general ed setting. It can be chunking of information. It can be color-coded information. There are several different things that can be done. Co-teaching practice and curriculum-specific knowledge. We need planning time to communicate and collaborate. That's a master schedule issue. We need common planning time for co-teachers. Again, a master schedule issue. Training for paraprofessionals. Staffing practices. We need training with administrators, and we need to recruit licensed special education teachers. We have several provisionally licensed teachers. That means they have not been through a college program for special education yet, and they're licensed on an emergency license from the state. Communication between gen ed and special ed, again, that's collaborative training as well as master schedule creation, and increase in academic rigor and expectations, going back to that co-teaching, specially designed instruction, data-driven planning, and presuming competence. And this cute little guy is a cub. I thought that was appropriate considering we're talking about that little cougar cubs. So, you all have any questions for me?
I do. Sure. Do we have any data as to why the number of children requiring special education accommodations and IEPs have increased so much?
So I think part of it is stride, because that December 1 child count is going to take into account everybody. I can give you the numbers. They're upstairs on a spreadsheet of what our numbers would be without stride, but right now it's stride.
Okay. I asked because, we have been in some of the schools over the last couple of weeks. Josh and I sat at CES yesterday for 3 hours. And yes, Tony's got it going on at CES. I would confirm. But everyone we talk to, the teachers are expressing that there's just more children in the classroom, not just on Stride, online, but in the classroom. And
So Prizer is an anomaly. Prizer is growing. And just really, frankly, we're seeing an influx of students with disabilities in the division because of our reputation for special ed. I know your numbers don't look great. I know that. But I will tell you right now, I put my staff up with Montgomery County, Giles, Smith, Bradford, any other day, and we will outdo them when it comes to special education. And parents know that. So they're bringing their kids here.
so you think it's an influx of children from other counties?
Absolutely, Tony.
We have
Tony, at one point, I think a couple weeks ago, had 7 new students enrolled, all had IEPs. It's unheard of. It doesn't happen. So they're hearing about what we do and how we take care of our kids, and they're coming. It just makes me because it makes me nervous. It's a high bar to fill, and I want to do better academically. Yes,
I don't understand what the qualifications are for an IEP. That would be something you might talk about. But I would be curious to see what easy it is to qualify for that.
It's not.
It's not
At all. It's a very strict criteria that's set by the state. They have their own criteria sheets. So when you're talking about eligibility, we have a 65-day window, business day window to get our testing done. We do ability and achievement testing. We would do a sociocultural assessment that looks at the environment the child is in, at home, at school, and any other factors that may be deeply into why that child would qualify. We would look at an educational narrative that would provide us all the data and information before the child qualified. We look at supporting information and how they progress. We look at all the data provides, so where they are with reading, where they are with math, their discipline data, and then we would look at classroom observation and hearing screen. So those are just the general things we look at. That's why it takes 65 business days to get it done. When we come to the table, we have to rule out environment, we have to rule out other factors, we have to rule out life instruction. Then we have to answer true to every single question on that assessment. So if you're looking at the criterion sheet for, I'm trying to think of two that's too off the top of my head, special, let's say a specific learning disability in reading or math. You have to be able to identify the processing disorder. You have to be able to prove that there is a 23 point or more discrepancy in their ability. So their IQ has to have at least 23 points between the subtests. So if your working memory is at, let's say 105, then you have to have 80 or less on some other subtest, perhaps processing or calculation knowledge. So we're looking for that discrepancy. That doesn't happen often. You should not be within the average range of intelligence. It can't be because you are coming from a different area, a different dialect that may be impacting. It can't be that it's a socioeconomic impact. You have to pull all of those out. Then you have to talk about what the impact of the education is, because those processing disorders don't necessarily impact how a child accesses. So children compensate. Then you have to be able to answer that they need specially designed instruction. And most kids get hung up, most teams get hung up in the specially designed instruction. So it's very difficult that time.
Okay, I'm sure it's very complicated.
We don't have
to get into it here. I was just curious.
Yeah.
We can talk later.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to sit down and go through it.
I have a question, just kind of follow up with, was said there, when the child or student goes on an IEP, the individual education plan is specific for them. How long are they on that? Do you see them coming off? Say if they have to have their test read out loud.
Some come off. Read aloud testing is kind of a pet peeve for me. Just so you know, because read aloud testing should not be done for somebody who has the potential to learn to read. So if you start reading aloud at too early an age, that child loses the desire to read because it's done for them. But to answer your question, Mr. Williams, we do have children that come off of the IEPs, particularly at high school. But typically, it's like any type of a disability. We're trying to teach you how to overcome that disability to access education. Absolutely, the goal is to come off and be successful. The reality is, these are disabilities for a reason. And so they could potentially stay on that individualized education plan all the way to graduation and then take it to college if they choose to go to college. You're welcome.
The only question I have about the number of provisional licensed teachers and I guess what's the process to get them fully licensed?
So, let me think off. I think we have 5 to 10 right now. It's a 3
Hey, hey Reggie.
You mean handle it? So to get a provisional in special ed, it's a little more difficult than regular ed because you've got to have a prerequisite class to qualify for a provisional special ed. We have active special ed, we have pre-K special ed, and then we have general curriculum special education. So there's 3 endorsements, but people are not taking that prereq to qualify for a provisional license. We have several that have provisional license, but it's our goal, obviously, to get the best candidate. Some of them have provisionals because they've been in the classroom. They may have gone back to take that prereq and hold a collegiate professional license and get a provisional special ed. But it's more difficult to get a SPED endorsement than it is a regular endorsement because you have to have a prerequisite. It usually encounters school or special ed law or foundations of special education.
There are several classes. It's a full master's by the time you're done. It takes 3 years to finish the provisional licensure route. You have to go through university. What I try to do is ask for the transcripts every semester to make sure that they're on track. The state will typically send back an answer and tell them exactly what they need in a letter. But we've been waiting for some folks on the state for a year. Where's Brenda go? She left. For about a year. So the state's been very slow. For the record, I started on the provisional license.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Awesome.
Great job, by the way.
Thanks. A little longer.
Oh,
Sorry. It's a lot.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Graham. I am going to do an overview of career and technical education as opposed to an update, just to make sure that I'm sharing regulations that we follow and the intent behind our programs. So if we go to the next slide, career and technical education starts at the elementary school level. We're a pre-K through 12 program, and our goals are to try and provide careers for elementary school students, as well as exploring different careers going to middle school. And by high school, we're trying to prepare them and train them in current careers. We use a software program called Clarity that is a career exploration software that's provided for us in middle school and high school through a grant provided by So they give access to our 6th through 12th grade students with major clarity. And then we also invest in the elementary version of the program. So our 4th and 5th grade students get to learn about different careers set up as a passport system. And they get to explore the different career clusters and learn about careers that they may not come into contact with in their everyday life. When we talk about career and technical education classes, there's really 5 components that make up career and technical education. The first is going to be our competency-based instruction. And our competency-based instruction is provided by the state. It's state certified and it's industry certified as well. When it comes to career and technical education from the state, we have 8 program areas, which are our teacher-centered divisions of career and technical education. And then Virginia has 17 career clusters. So all of our CTE courses fall into one or more of those career clusters for students to get training in those career pathways. The competencies are state established and industry verified, like I said, and Pulaski County has a strong history in providing support from the state or to the state actually for our curriculum. For example, this year we have 4 teachers that were selected to serve on CTE advisory committees for their content area. We have Christy Underwood, who will be working with marketing and updating fashion marketing at the state level. Christian Miller, who's working with manufacturing and materials and processes. Tara Bird, who is helping to update the pharmacy technician program. And we just got notification today that Carly Ballard is serving World Design curriculum review committee as well. So I always love to see Pulaski County voices at the table when we're trying to make decisions to save curriculum. And then the next slide just has a few examples of what competency-based education means. So kids learn by doing. Our students learn by doing. And some of the examples you see here are students that build bridges, to test their engineering skills. Our automotive body students went outside of the automotive realm and worked with Chrysler Elementary and tested their painting skills to update their picnic tables that they had outside. So they're giving back to the community. We have students that built a house, that was half the humanity. They have recorded different videos and put promotional videos out. We have livestock that comes to visit the school grounds. You can see back there. And then our preschool program, which was recognized earlier today. Our students learn about early childhood education by working with preschool students. So we're very fortunate that our students get to learn how to do that competency-based education model. The next component is our career and technical student organizations. You heard from FFA tonight. They're absolutely crushing it, both statewide and nationally. And then if you switch to the next slide with pictures, there are 8 career and technical student organizations that are recognized by the Commonwealth of Virginia. And our programs are so varied that we have all 8 here in Pulaski County. So our students have the opportunity to go to leadership conferences, skills-based competitions. They attend college and career days with their CTSOs. They participate in community service, and they're a rich part of student life. Our industry credentials are next. Our different categories that we have for industry credentials are the state professional licenses, industry certifications, pathway certifications, and the occupational competency assessment. This is only for high school students, and it comes at the end of their concentrator sequence. So if the student goes all the way through a program, they have the opportunity to sit for an industry credential, an industry recognized credential. And the next slide has a list of all of the industry credentials that we offer to our students. One of the things that we take pride in is that our credentials are true industry recognized credentials. There are certifications out there that a student can earn that get recognized by the state, but they're not actually recognized by industry. And we take a lot of pride in working with our industry, our business community, and hearing from them and offering credentials that we can send them to work. The next piece we have is our high-quality work-based learning experiences. The Commonwealth recognizes 12 high-quality work-based learning experiences, and we offer 6 of those experiences at Pulaski. So we offer job shadowing, service learning, school-based enterprises, internships, supervised agricultural experiences, and clinical experiences for our students. That's okay. And this is a couple of pictures of some of the different high-quality work-based learning experiences that our students have participated in. So we have a picture of our early childhood education students attending a professional development seminar at New River Community College, where early childhood centers came and provided professional learning for our students that were high schoolers. So they're learning just like the employees at various childhood centers would learn. We have our floral design students that work for a school-based enterprise. They sell flowers, and the floral design students also provided the arrangements that are in front of you today. We have a service learning project we've heard of, the sensory trail. Students identified the need for students with visual impairments and ability impairments to have access to outdoor learning spaces. And once they identified that problem through service learning, they created a sensory trail that's outside. We also have had students that did their supervised agricultural experience to get credit, and they went to workshops for teachers and presented to teachers across the Commonwealth on how they put together the sensory trail. trail. So again, giving them that professionally coordinated and supervised environment for work-based learning is what we're all about. And then the final piece that we recognize as a component for career technical education is our CTE advisory committee. Similar to special education, we have a committee of students, teachers, parents, community members, and we also have student representatives that come and look at what we're doing and advise us on new courses that we need to bring in, courses that maybe don't have value in our community anymore, and give us advice on the different credentials and programs that we have for students. Are there questions that I can answer about CTE?
Yes, ma'am, I have a question for you. How often do you guys review what programs are offered? Do you often look at what the workplace is demanding, and you try to tailor programs that mirror that to the students who are career ready to go join the workforce?
We do, and that's actually part of our perfect plan. So that's done every single week.
Was that Perkins data available anywhere?
Yes, I can give you guys our preference plan from last year. We'll actually be putting together our preference plan for this year. That's the start. And every 2 to 3 years, we're required to go through a comprehensive local assessment. So we're kicking that off I think, Friday, starting to work with teachers and students on what we need to do.
And last how does the CTE advisory committee?
So as of right now, it's meeting twice a year. But I also would like to point out that we meet with industry representatives in an informal basis. I actually served on Chamber of Commerce executive boards to make sure that I'm working with our industry members there and our higher education. But our programs are also meeting with their industry-specific advisory committees as well. So the teachers are hearing from industry representation, parents, and students.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I don't have a question, just I think you need to highlight what the work that you do with the chamber and Pulaski Gauge, and those things that really helps the CTE program be. I think you all need to hear that.
Yes, Rob.
Yeah, so I didn't point out, but our chamber actually takes an intern when we have a marketing student, so they have been invested in our work-based learning. They helped us put together an industry-specific day at the middle school for manufacturing, because that is one of our biggest industries in Pulaski County. And through that partnership, we had manufacturers, we had higher education institutions, we had economic development. We also started including tourism in that conversation, because when we talk to higher education professionals, they are looking at the rendering where people are coming to the area to be educated independently. And a lot of what they talk about is that there's not things to do in this area. So working with Governor Talbert Tourism, we're starting early with that conversation and pointing out the things that are out there, things that you can do at a manufacturing education expo, because we're trying to do that broad range, live and work. Education in CTE is about the pre-K to 12. It's also not the right path. The chamber is a phenomenal partner in that, because we can sit down and work together. And she's bringing industry, Shannon, during her year, is bringing professionals directly to us and keeping them on the feet.
Is the committee thinking outside the box a little bit? And what I mean by that is outside of Pulaski County job opportunities. Yes, we are a manufacturing county, but we got to think more globally as things are more connected. So is the CTE department thinking about what might be available outside of just our county and preparing students for that opportunity too?
Absolutely. And in fact, so the manufacturing event, again, that's a large industry there, which is why we focused on that at the middle school. And students don't understand necessarily all the different jobs that are in manufacturing. But Onward NRD, the Regional Economic Development Authority, assisted us with that as well. So we're working with healthcare, manufacturing, food and beverage production, unmanned systems, and information technology. Those are the careers that are within the Valley that we focus on. But we also take into account what students want, what they want to do with their life. So if a student is interested in becoming maybe a pediatric surgeon, we're working with them to connect them with different resources and opportunities. And again, that goes back to that career exploration software and why there's so much value in that. Because kids are telling us what they want to do, and we use that data to drive this conversation.
Okay, great, thank you.
The work-based learning experiences pointed out that you were incorporating eight of them, instead of eight? Six, okay. Are there any plans to add more of those? And can you give me an example of where perhaps apprenticeship would be something?
Yeah, so apprenticeships, we are actually ready to roll apprenticeships out. Where we have not found the right industry partner yet is the whole list. So an apprenticeship is run through the Department of Labor, and the industry has to work with the Department of Labor to review the job description and make sure that it's appropriate for an individual that's 16 and up. So the registered youth apprenticeship is one of the options that we've looked at. We've looked at the construction industry, we've looked at manufacturing, and until we have an industry partner that is willing to work with us there, we just have to keep communicating to our business partners that we would love to do that.
So we got a field.
Oh,
Okay.
hopefully.
Like Dr. told you, I'm very, I believe that the CT program here is probably the best in the state, and we want to continue to make that as innovative as possible. So, good job, Megan.
Love it, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys.
Same. I'm sorry, very much. And now, next up is the student representative. Sorry, keep waiting so long, bud.
He's gonna ask to be able to come and just bully.
School needs it.
So first I'd like to point out that we have our Valentine's Day is Friday, and the money we're raising for our dance is going to be used to help pay for our after prom for our seniors and juniors. We were still looking for a place to even have prom at, so like God, we got you, let us know. Also this week is our kindness week at all schools in Pulaski County, so either hold the door or compliment someone and just be kind to them is what we're going for this week. I also like to point out that our DECA program is like our travel marketing program. They're going to states in 2 weeks. So we have Channel 1, hope they all do good. And esports is a big one because I want to know what other games you can add because I don't really want to play Super Smash Bros. And League of Legends, but I really want to win the club. So like any other games like 2K, Madden, Fortnite, Call of Duty, any of those will a lot of people would be interested in that if we had it reduced. So like any games you can add. I know there's a lot of like games that sell through games that could be added.
I'm an old man. I don't.
Age group. Hold your ears.
Well, anyways, we're still trying to find ways that I can improve the ideas I came up with last time. So I'm still trying to find out to get people to come to school. So I'm still trying to work with that. Just work with we'll get more figured out. But thank you.
Fantastic. Next up, Morgan's Water Budget Analysis.
Y'all will learn very quickly that I'm not very good at speaking in front of people.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mr. Mayor. You have before you an analysis of the current budget through January 31st, 2024. As of the end of January, 41.67% of the budget year is remaining. The first page of the analysis provides an overview of the school operating budget using the state prescribed categories or major expenditure functions. The next page provides a financial overview of the other funds controlled by the school board, our cafeteria fund, textbook fund, and our school capital fund. Following is a detailed analysis of personnel and non-personnel expenditures for each department and subcategory within the base function. On the revenue side, basic aid payments are currently based on the updated state projected ADM of 4,172 and are slightly ahead of budget. Our budgeted ADM, which was based off final March 31st, 2023 ADM, was 3,688. The ADM that we use to create our budget has changed slightly, so our revenues. Our state sales tax payments are below budgeted amount for this point of the year as a result of the increase in basic aid, and many of the other state revenues with water and funded accounts just began receiving payments. All major expenditure areas are under budget for this point in the year, with the exception of admin, health, and operations, slightly over budget. Operations overage is primarily just due to the annual costs at the beginning of the year, and also summer projects that we complete in July and August. And then admin attendance and health is largely due to our HRMS system that we implemented this year. And these were one-time charges that were result of the new software. The treasurer's office is currently behind on transfers, but once accumulated revenues and expenditures are taken into consideration, transfers are caught up in January. We will have approximately $6,310,708 in county funds over future.
Any questions? Thank you, Morgan. And I'll begin.
The next thing I'd like to present for you is a summary of our draft budget for the 24-25 school year. Our draft is based off of the governor's proposed budget. This is the only budget we have right now. We'll have also one from the House or the Senate. On the revenue side, our projected ADM for 24-25 is 4,172, which will result in $40,550,892 in state funding. Our state funding, combined with our estimated federal funding of $6,011,667, level county contribution of $60,584,054, and other miscellaneous local revenues of $817,37, and those other miscellaneous local revenues, they refunds and recoveries, tuition payments from other localities, local grants. That brings our total estimated revenue budget to $63,924,443. And as you all are aware, our participation with SCRIDE is due for the school year. The updated ADM includes the increase because of the SCRIDE students. And then our projected revenue from this increase in ADM because of SCRIDE is $4,724,366. And on the expenditure side, I've estimated our SCRIDE expense at 94.5% of that projected revenue. So we'll keep around 5.5% this year. I think next year, this year should go up to 8%. On the expenditure side, we would like to propose starting with our baseline from last year. So that's all personnel, all current expenditures that we have in our operational budget. And at this time, our goal is to provide a 5% raise to our employees, which the total cost for that across the division is about $2 million. And we would also like to propose keeping an 11-month assistant principal at the middle school that's currently being paid through our ESSER funding. And that ends September 30th of this year. In addition, we would like to add 2 elementary teaching positions that would include a 10-month art teacher and a 10-month music teacher. And lastly, we are still in the RFP process for choosing a new health insurance consultant for the county. We have completed interviews and are working with the county to make a final decision. We've been told by our current insurance consultant that we can expect to see up to a 20% increase in insurance costs this year. We would like to be able to utilize our funding to cover that cost of the increase. We don't see that. So if we do end up with a 20% increase, that cost would be about $1.4 million. So that brings our total expenditure budget to $64,400,000 to our revenue budget, that leaves us with a $560,000 budget shortfall. And once we have a better idea of our actual budget, Richmond and insurance numbers, go at that budget shortfall and figure out how we're gonna address that.
That sounds really positive, Lauren. It could be a lot worse than 5% raises. What's that, Rob? 17% in 3 years?
It's on, it was 13.89 for the last 2 years, so if we get another 5 or even 6 that we discussed with the county too, on the insurance rates, go up to close to 19.
Oh, fantastic.
3 years, that's a lot.
And the teacher positions will allow us to have almost year-round art schedules.
Almost. Be a lot better. It will be 9 weeks on, 9 weeks off. It's just a good thing.
Greatly needed. Any other questions, comments? Fantastic job, Morgan. Thank you. Next up, student tutors.
Oh,
So when Jeremiah presented the idea of bringing student tutors on, we wanted to look at the possibility of awarding some type of credit for students who decide to volunteer their time. There is an option in the career and technical education course book that has already been a Pulaski County course that we're not using at this moment, but that could fit in with that. It's a leadership development class, and the course itself is a class 4 credit. It falls under Family and Consumer Sciences, which is our education, our culinary arts programs, and it is a concentrator course. CTE courses have to have a part 1 and a part 2 to be allowable in schools. So it counts as a concentrator course with our Virginia teachers for tomorrow course that it's already being taught. So my only role in here is to share that there is a course on books already that we could use for that program if we would like to over credit, and if we align it with our Virginia teachers for tomorrow programming, that really does align really well with the concept of this.
During leadership, we were asked to make students, just for the, I can't speak for the other schools, the elementary level, morning tutoring, learning laws, remediation, strat tutoring for the fall. We also offer what's called our reading and spelling buddies. And our reading and buddies program at BDS is a unique way of providing tutoring for some of our younger grades by our upper grades. This program was active under Mrs. Smith when I became an assistant principal 8 years ago, and we have continued ever since. This program involves 4th and 5th graders as the so-called tutors, and 1st and 2nd graders as the ones being tutored. This program is open to all students in the 4 grades. Each tutor travels to the younger grades. This usually takes 10 to 15 minutes. Students work on reading skills and practice spelling lists in a supportive way. The older students read to the younger ones and give them a chance to recap the story or practice reading back again. The neat thing about this is that we have students from various grades interacting with each other. It's also open to any student the teacher recommends. Older students that may be below grade level gets a chance to practice words and build up their confidence. Younger students get a chance to practice at the current pace. And this program also helps teachers from various grade levels collaborate with each other. Overall, it's a quick way to get some extra support from multiple students. Students really seem to enjoy this program. I don't know if they read this
Hey, I love this idea. I really do. I mean, it's not just the passing activities, but kind of like a mentorship too. Just a couple questions. So high school students that come to middle school or elementary schools, they go into the classroom that they're in, is that?
It's usually just our fourth, it's good.
It's just the PES.
Yeah, it's just within the school.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you see the potential that this could expand to where if you, like they was talking about the teachers program at CTE, that could come in there too, tutor and stuff. Yeah. How is it done during like the so like during reading time or English or whatever? That's when the pairing up begins, and that's then math is acted that way too.
Usually it's not, that's usually reading, spelling, that's usually done. If it's coincides like fifth grade, they have morning math, they will break.
Yeah.
Especially when students finish morning math quicker, sometimes first ones go.
Yeah.
And pull them out because reading we have first and second grade, and or spelling during that day. And then we work on it, those students, and especially young ones, sometimes classical everybody's being intimidated. Because somebody else, and also, I think that also has friendships that there's this chance to interact with more students. Those older students kind of take those things.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Well, I agree with Mr. Williams is saying, you see that applied at say high school. You know, a lot of these kids are struggling with social interaction, so having her class here assist in student English, what classes are taking, there's more detail. I love that we could pursue that where they can get a credit for it, but I'd also like to see something proposed which is volunteer and perhaps just National Honor Society hours where you kids would, you know, ace exactly college to be able to expand it where they just want to do it on a volunteer basis.
Fantastic program, Mike. Thanks for sharing. Next up, the social media class action lawsuit.
Yes, so that is I don't know what happened.
I think we misplaced files, I think. So.
Well, it was on there this afternoon, and I don't know where it went, but I have it on my phone if you want. And don't look in your packet because that's not correct.
Okay.
And I'll send it to you.
Yeah, we can just put it on the website later.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I was trying to be preemptive, Rob.
But just to go through it, the attendance we've improved. We're really one school, and that is the high school that's at below 94%. Everybody else is at 94% or above as far as attendance goes. 94.25% as a division. And then I asked Ms. Compton to provide us with chronic absenteeism numbers, and we need to work on that. We're looking at an extensive amount. And remember, chronic absenteeism is 10 absences a day, and we have close to, I want to say it was 300, 400 that we have grades K through 12. So that is something that we need to work on. And I don't know if you all saw the WSLS newsfeed that they had on that classes. We're doing a number of things to try to help with that, including the incentives that our principals have in each of our schools. All have wonderful attendance incentives. We have a unified communication system that Lincoln has helped us with that notifies parents and community members of what's going on in the absences their children have. We started the Every Cougar Counts program to really look at not just chronic absenteeism, but emotional and social health well-being, as well as also the learning loss that we're seeing too. And then we have that beginning next year, we'll have a coordinator of, I think it's called chronic absenteeism specialist, is the way that we worded it in our all-in tutoring plan, our all-in plan to help try to engage families better into the importance of coming to school every day on time. And then lastly, we're really lucky enough to have a course system that's very supportive of us and helping us with those things too. So I'll share that with you. It's an Excel document you'll have to look at December and then January to see the differences on it. And then the the discipline report too, I was very, very pleased with. And same thing, you'll have to look at the December compared to January, but we lowered the discipline rates over 50 incidents in the month of January, which is outstanding. A lot of really pleased at the 6th and 7th grade levels in ninth. They went down dramatically. So excited about that. And I apologize. I don't know where I've been.
That's okay.
So the message of the consequences are going to be different is being translated and received.
I think so. And I think we steer forward, moving in the same direction right now. I think we have support from our staff in moving that direction, especially from our administrators. They definitely have more autonomy in moving forward. And just so you all are aware, I think, some of these attendance things, school suspension is a tool that worries all of us. I know it does, but it's certainly something that we use to help. It's helped this year too. And we've helped with that too with night school, so that we're not getting penalized all that too. But I'm open for suggestions from anybody on chronic absenteeism piece because it's a mess around the state.
When Jay got to work with CMS, it looked like the high school programs.
It's one of
That's a success, a great success.
Oh, and just outstanding employees in there, and Dr. Grant, Dr. Polch have done an excellent job. Really, that's been great this year with helping us with those safety things too. So, Ms. Cheverton is outstanding. Her role is trying to help with this too. We feel like that eventually we'll get a handle on it. Get our children back in school every day because that's so important to the learning that they have as their attendance. So, but the chronic absenteeism piece, we're still looking for suggestions. We have a lot of good incentives.
I think given the Cheverton's,
And I had the privilege of talking to a mom who had access to about 7 high schools, and she put together a Word document of their words as to why they don't come.
Oh.
So I've collected some things. We can meet and go over it and talk about it. There's common themes there that we could probably look at taking care of and at least beginning to address that might change the trajectory of that.
I'd love to see that. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, next up, social media lawsuit.
And I just to see how you all want to continue to move. I mean, if you want to, our attorneys right now are out in the country, and we'll be back soon. But if you want to just keep us having it on the agenda, if you have questions or anything about answers to that.
So, any questions for Mr. Graham or any comments?
I know there was I can't remember which school division it was, but they just signed on.
Rockingham.
Because that's exactly what they just signed on to. So there's over 20 now, I believe, that are part of that as well. So I just had that on there for you all.
So do we want to keep that as an informational item, or what's the feeling?
Well, eventually we need to move it to an action item, either maybe for the next board session, since the attorneys are not in the country.
Yes, and they are welcome to. If you all have questions that you have about it that you would like me to send to them, I'd be more than happy to do this.
And I'll go ahead and state right now that I will likely recuse myself from that vote. I am a financial advisor and investment broker. While I do not own some of these social media companies myself, many of my clients do. I still create and construct portfolios with those companies as investments. So I feel like just to avoid any perceived possible conflict of interest on my part, I will be recusing myself from a vote on joining that class action lawsuit for that reason.
Okay, and I go to action item for next.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Next up, Pulaski County Proud Week.
So 2024 marks the 185th anniversary of the Pulaski County founding. This will be celebrated the last week of March, highlighted by a ceremony recognizing the Pulaski County Proud Day on Wednesday, March 27th at 12 noon. Our wonderful band director, Mr. Fowler, has graciously agreed to have that band performing. I don't know if you've all been to the basketball games.
Best band in the state.
Yeah, I think they're really, really good. The Pulaski County Proud Committee has asked that the school board consider possibly something along the lines of a spirit week that would involve all schools within Pulaski County Public Schools if the board feels appropriate. Mr. Gravely has offered his services to help us with this. If you feel like it would be a good initiative for us to be a part of, I think it's a wonderful initiative for us to be a part of, and appreciate Dave that wanting to step up and lead us through this. I know he's got a logo that he's created that's absolutely wonderful, and I believe possibility of T-shirts and things of that nature that we're looking at too. But we wanted to run that by you all, so you wanted us to be a part of that.
I think it's a fantastic idea. Any other concerns?
Let's do it.
And I don't think we need to vote on this just to make you all aware.
Next up, the one bag challenge.
And we went ahead and I think our board of supervisors chair, Laura Walters, had a great idea with this, and the school board and the school systems are going to partner with that. So the basis of this is just to try to clean up our community. And I think that's something that our children is a really good learning opportunity for not only them, staff, but all of us too. So are you all okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're good with that. My understanding, the county would be offering, I know how they did last year, we were out there picking up you for potential for, they do something at the level for kids,
Yes.
right? I love the idea. Discuss, the only concern I would ever have is little children. You know, our messaging from the school, you're out there picking up trash, adult supervision.
Yes, absolutely. And our folks do a super job with that too. And we won't go off campus.
Yeah. And that's great.
All right. Next up, calendar items.
So you all are headed to, or Ms. Payne and Mr. Price are headed to Snowville on Thursday, and then Ms. Payne and Mr. Williams are headed to Pulaski County High School, or that was Thursday, Friday, and then on Monday, Mr. Taylor and Ms. Cox is going to Pulaski Elementary, and on Friday, we are following up, finishing those listening tours up with Mr. Price and Mr. Williams at Riverlawn Elementary School, and I know the tours that you all have had so far have been beneficial, and y'all take the time to meet our staff.
It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic.
And then just a reminder too that we are headed to VSBA training on the 27th. Do you all have your rooms?
So I let Ms. Crawford know today that I may have a scheduling conflict. I might have to be on Zoom, but I'll let her know a little more push.
Okay, and we have worked the agenda, and they sent it to us. It's pretty basic, but 9 o'clock, and we're only, if you're staying at the hotel, you're welcome to come up on your own and want to, but we're only like at the hotel, only about 5 minutes away from where their offices are. And I think that's last of 3, and lunch is included from there. And that's on the calendar.
Okay, next to the action items, spring break.
Just would like to and appreciate the board considering this, that you allow our 11 to 12 month employees to also have a week of spring break off. I think they work very, very hard and certainly earn the right to have that too. So consider that. Greatly appreciate it.
So could I get a motion to correct the calendar to give our 11 and 12 month employees the days of April 2nd through April 5th off?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second,
Ms. Pulaski.
Ms. Payne,
yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Cox,
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
All right, VSBA Business Honor Roll.
Thank you. So the honor roll is something that the VSBA does annually. And it's a recognition of businesses across Pulaski County that support Pulaski County Public Schools. And just in my 6 months, this is kind of my recommendation. Certainly, as we move forward, we welcome your all's recommendation too, but we will be new too. We felt like, of course, Pulaski County Parks and Recreation have been wonderful to us since I started. Ms. Atkinson talked about the chamber and what they do to Pulaski County too. So we thought that they would be a good addition. And then Martin's Pharmacy has done a lot of sponsorship for us throughout the county too. good to recognize them as well. So if you all are comfortable with that, we do need to have your approval to move forward.
And Martin's even delivers prescriptions to the clinic at the hospital.
Yes, that's correct. That's right.
So motion for recognition of the three entities on the East Bay this summer.
I'll make that motion. Chair?
Second.
Knows his business.
I'll second.
Ms. Porter.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes. Thank you.
Next up, summer schedule.
And yes, we talked about this one a little bit too. We would like to be able to, for the summer hours, attempt to give our staff a little bit of a longer weekend, but more importantly, to try to save on utilities. I don't know if Ms. Scholar told you, but our utilities, I think we're 70%, 78 budget right now. So we would request that we do a full 10-hour work week in the summer, beginning that first week after the last day of school. So be somewhere beginning of June till right around the beginning of August.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns about the summer schedule?
I think we talked about it before, the summer school will mirror this too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And no impact on the other services because the entire district will be shut down Fridays.
Correct.
Would it include the hours?
I need to check on that. I'll tell you yes, but my understanding is we drive that train too, so I would think it would be able to check probably back.
So can I get a motion to approve the summer hours work 10-hour day work schedule?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Porter.
Ms. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Next up on the agenda, board policy GCBD R3 sick leave policy.
And I would like to request Mr. Thomas and I worked with this too, and looking at that regulation that we have, and just feel like, and talking with Ms. Pleasantberry too, none of us can figure out why that was ever put into this regulation to have our having employees not be a part of terminal leave. I mean, they certainly have worked hard to earn that leave. If they choose to save it and us paying for it as they leave, I think we should honor that. First of all, I don't think it's equitable because we don't do that with our planning employees. Secondly, if they were to, retiring, so they probably, if they get paid out, will probably go ahead and take sick days 3 at a time. And we're going to end up paying more for a sub than that. And third, they deserve to have that, spending the time working as hard as they do in Pulaski County. I would recommend though that there would be a cap on that because we perhaps checked around too. I don't know if Richie has either, but most school divisions do a cap of about 300. So that's
300 days?
300 days.
Which equates to 15 grand total.
It would, yes.
But if you didn't take a sick day for your entire 30-year career, it's 360 days. So that's probably like that's fine.
That's correct.
And looking at other school districts, most don't have a cap. They also don't have a cap on it. So I know with county and Salem.
So that, I think that's up to you all to decide if you I think we do need, I'm really a proponent of canceling the hybrid statement where, so they have the ability to be paid out terminal leave just like everybody else. But whether or not you want to have a payout the days.
You and I exchanged some emails and answered questions. Yeah, I had no idea that sick leave was this way. Nowhere I've ever worked it accrued that you carry over. And you get 300 days of anything. So my concern was if we had a group of teachers or employees retiring at the same time and they're all near the top, how does it affect budget? But I see in the category under type and physical impact is no budget. It is yes. So that's looked at. Y'all look at who's eligible for retirement.
Absolutely. Yes, so you want us to go ahead.
Just through the intent to return, Mr. Williams, that's passed out. That's passed out before I was hired, but has several categories on there. Do you plan to retire? Are you planning on retiring the next year? We budget that way, and that's how we start, put it all together. guess that is on the intents to return so that we don't get surprised. And, you know, what Mr. Graham's asking for is not going to be a large thing. Like these hybrid employees have only been since 2014, so they can't accumulate none. So that's not a lot.
And I think in talking with Morgan too, that generally our retirements, the savings we have from our retirements help pay off the payout that we have too. So that's helped us. I'm really a budget side.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Now, any of these retiring employees, they have 300 days accumulated. They still donate some of those days to the plan we have.
Yes. So we've had great success with the lease. That new lease sharing program that we've had has been used very well, and it's something that I think is going to be extremely beneficial for our staff too. For those who have unusual circumstances where they run out of their sick days and they would have to take leave with that pay. We don't want that to happen. We have a very generous school community too.
So these on the hybrid retirement plan as it is now, they're not really carrying over sick days. So they would have the option of giving you.
They do too, but for some reason they were excluded if you were hired before 2014. Is that right? June 1 of 2014, you weren't eligible for terminal payout, and as a hybrid, you just lose it,
Or take all the time.
or take
Or
the time.
take it off.
Take the time. When you're looking at, if you have a license of Pulaski County, I think it's $140.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 140 compared to 50 every day.
Call it sick for a year now.
We don't want that to go on at all.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, we're looking for a motion to amend board policy GCBD 3R3 sick leave and strike number 4 with the addition of a 300-day cap. Do I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second.
Ms. Boyle.
Ms. Payne,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Ms. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Thank you all so much.
Last up, calendar changes.
So,
I read this.
I've heard about this in Food City.
Okay.
so apparently we have a very big football game.
Yes.
Virginia Tech on Thursday, October 17th. So we're asking that the board change our early release parent-teacher conference schedule to the 17th to be moved to the 24th. And then we wouldn't have to worry about what comes along with that on Thursday night, which we know are very popular.
Any questions, comments, concerns about the calendar change?
Who are they playing?
Remember that. I know it's a big deal.
So,
What makes it a big game?
low attendance at the parent-teacher conference. I think that's what makes it a big game.
All right, then.
Can I get a motion to approve the calendar item change for the teacher workday?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second.
Ms. Holbrook.
Ms. Payne,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Ms. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, that brings us to future agenda items. Any items this board would like to see on the March agenda?
I'll bring up one. I know we've kind of discussed this already. But I would like to see the reinstatement at the high school level of honors to valedictorians of the board. Receive some more information on that so we can have that in place. Certainly not, we can't do it by this graduation. But next one, 25. I know back in the spring, the prior board was presented, Ms. Bowling and her team did a great job giving a presentation on possibly agree at that. Typically, these recognize high academic achievement. I would really like to see that we can incorporate recognition of our kids who are on a certification path, CTE, the highest achievers. They would pull valedictory salute, and not just give honors. And traditionally, they've always gotten to speak a little bit at graduation.
Yes, we have.
So we can get a presentation. Sure. Like get that place. Kids are going to be registering for classes soon. Right? Some shape their decision on what they want to take for competing with that.
Absolutely. Good idea. Any other questions, comments, concerns for this?
This might not be for March, and this too would also be implemented for next year, but I think it would be valuable to have a student representative from each grade. I think our seniors have different thoughts and ideas, and our ninth graders have different thoughts and ideas. Maybe they're already collaborating, and Jeremiah's bringing it all to the table every time he's here. But in my mind, I just thought, wow, ninth graders are thinking about different things than seniors are thinking about. So maybe we can think about that.
Get Ms. Bowling and her team involved in that. And those folks are on student advisory council, correct? That's correct.
Yes, sir. We have that meeting tomorrow, actually, and that's a representation of a very diverse group of students, including the I think SDA, I believe, the class officers, their presidents come, and then there's others that are also representing that from ninth grade through 12th grade. So we have a really good representation there. I think, are you asking that they come here to the board and speak?
Well, I guess what I was asking was that each grade was involved, was collaborating with Jeremiah on what their needs and ideas and thoughts were in ninth grade all the way up to June. So if we're already doing that, if we're already putting input with Jeremiah collectively from 9th through 12th, I don't want to be redundant, but.
Well, I know besides that, in student advisory committees, I think we have 4 or 5 a year, and we do that during those times. And I think he also, knowing him too, as a go-getter as he is, he's making sure that he's meeting with the class officers, and I know they meet regularly. So he probably is getting it.
Okay. I have no doubt he's killing it for sure, but I wanted to make sure we were.
Sure. I'll double check with him. I'll see him tomorrow too, because he's on that advisory.
Perfect.
We'll check and see. Get back to you.
Cool. Perfect. Next up is.
I have one, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Earlier, Mike, you mentioned the program that every cougar counts.
Yes.
Yeah, and how it's going to maintain focus on achieving success and stuff. I'd like to hear more about that. If there's anything out there in the communities that are on there, what are the goals of this, how we're going to achieve them?
Absolutely. So we met. We had our first committee at the division level, and we have our next principal meetings. We are going to go over that with them. And the first thing that we are going to do is discuss how every cougar count is going to fit into our comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan in Pulaski County is the 6-year plan that we become our strategic plan, where you cover your mission, your vision, your goals, your objectives, academics, all that, and how we are going to see how that fits in each school and how that's going to fit in the division as well. So, we are looking for. Do we have a division board member yet? I can't remember if we have one or not. Yeah. Yes, Ms. Collins. Yes, Ms. Collins. Yes. So we do have representation on the board too. So please feel free to share with Ms. Cox if you have any ideas, anything you want, and y'all love to join at the division level if you want. So we'll let you know when our meetings are coming. 2 of you can come.
And the comprehensive plan, that's up for rewrite this year, is that correct?
Next.
All right, next up is recognition of citizens. Persons may present ideas or concerns regarding Pulaski County Public Schools. The school board at this meeting will take no action. Items presented by citizens may be referred to the superintendent for research, who may report back to the school board at subsequent meeting or throughout the communication. If you wish to comment about individual employees or their performance, please present your comments first to the superintendent. Such matters will not be discussed. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Public comment period will last no longer than 30 minutes. Just state your name and well.
Good evening. I'm Johnny Cruz. Chair for Grant.
Do you mind speaking into the mic so we can hear you better? Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Where is the policy listed before you requested needing a letter from the board?
Can I respond?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. What are you asking?
And where is the policy listed FOIA request needing a letter from the lawyer.
I'm not aware of that.
Well, what I'm asking is, does the board, did they adopt a policy stating that if I put in a FOIA request, which I did, that before I could get a copy of the video, that I had to get a letter from my lawyer? That was stated to me through Ms. Crawford from you.
So you're saying that you sent a FOIA request in?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm a little confused here because we received a letter from a lawyer that said to please preserve and reserve a certain segment of video, but I don't ever recall asking our school board attorneys for a letter.
I was asked for my lawyer to provide a letter before I could receive the video that I requested a copy.
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, I have the email to back that up.
From me?
Sir?
You have that from me?
Yes, sir.
That I stated in an email that you had to have a lawyer?
Mrs. Crawford stated to me, and I read it.
Sure.
And it'll explain itself.
Okay.
I corresponded by email and phone with Mr. Graham and Ms. Crawford several times. On December 8th, 2023, called Ms. Crawford to set a time to pick up video footage. She stated, Mr. Grant says that I would need a letter from my lawyer before he would release the videos. So my lawyer sent the letter, and the school board received that letter on the 19th. And that letter, you all have a copy.
Is that the one that said to preserve and reserve?
Yes, sir. Okay. So you did receive that letter?
Yes, sir.
And that was from direction of Ms. Crawford saying that that's what you practice. Excuse me. So where can the policy be found on how long videos are kept from being deleted?
There's no policy on that.
There's no policy.
No.
Okay. So on January 26th, 2024, Ms. Crawford called to say the video footage was ready. I told her I would pick it up on Monday the 29th because it was like 4:30 p.m. It was late today. I viewed the video on January 30th. I sent Mr. Brown an email asking to schedule a meeting to view full original video. You stated the video was deleted and unable to be copied. So, when does the time frame begin for the release of FOIA information once a request is made by anyone?
Well, in that particular case, we saved the video that you asked for and provided it to you.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
That's correct.
And that the video that and I don't want to go out. I mean, this is so I don't. I mean, this is getting to be a little bit of a.
Well, I asked for a meeting.
Okay, but so we got the video for you, correct? And you reviewed it, and then you asked us to send you more of it, which was not what was in the attorney's letter. The attorney's letter asked us to get the video from the time that you entered the school to you entered the office, which we gave you. Then you requested to have it from a little bit more, and I don't know this. Mr. Whitaker can certainly help us with this. That I don't know the time frame of when videos are where the memory is full and they have to erase in order to capture the video of more current videos.
Currently, that particular server you're asking about holds video for 76 days.
76 days.
That's just that particular one. If we have more cameras in a building, it could be a shorter amount.
So I requested a copy of this video when I submitted my FOIA request on December 1st in reference to myself entering the elementary school on November 13th, 2023. Because deliberate false statements were made by a kindergarten teacher. I noted these statements that had been written during a meeting on November 21st, 2023 with my wife, Grace, my son, Mr. Brown, the principal, assistant principal, my grandson's teacher, and a former board member. The principal of Dublin Elementary followed up my entry of the building during current pickup on the 13th of November. And she says that the teacher was scared to tell me that I could not come into the building. I don't know why she would think I was afraid. That's beyond me.
Do you want me to answer that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because you came in the building without permission.
And where is the policy that says that this current pickup doors are wide open and it's a security issue? You have an officer in the middle of the street. Anyone can come through those doors. So security protocol right there, to me, is not sufficient. All you have to do is do something to that officer. You have full run of any of those children, which is safe. I'm not a threat. I don't want anybody's children to get hurt, especially mine. Nobody's children. And I'm not a threat. So during the November 21st meeting, the principal stated that I pushed children out of the way only to say, oh no, you didn't. She recanted her statement. That was during the meeting. In the teacher statement, the teacher stated he pushed his granddaughter through the students first to help make a way. The video, all 16 seconds of it, clearly shows that was a lie. After the statements were written, Mr. Brown, did you or the principal view the video?
I viewed the video. I viewed the video, yes, sir.
And my question to you is, are their accounts correct? That I pushed kids out of the way?
I did not hear her say that. I did not hear the teacher say that. I did not hear Dr. Webb say that.
Well, it's in the statement that she wrote. The secretary, her statement was truly correct. I've never pushed kids out of the way. I worked this is 30 years.
I know that.
And I never mistreated or wanted to see a child on the street. And I resent these statements being made against me. Somebody is speaking against my character. They need to check their own character, because you should not lie on somebody when the proof is there and then the videos are released. Thank you for your time.
Any other citizens? Seeing none, could I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll say. Support.
Ms. Payne? Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.